we are going to again be working with the November Man collection from Craft O'Clock. It's going to be super cool. We're going to make another Speedy layout tonight. We're going to start with our background. So one of my Speedy scrapbooking tips is to start with a sketch. So I took this one from Ginger's Corner. She is doing a Speedy scrapbooking hop this month, and people are participating, adding to a playlist on YouTube, but also you can play along in her Facebook group and post your photos in the comments of each sketch. So kind of fun, right? So start with a sketch. That's one of my tips. And we are going to pick a background. So I want one part of, oh, that's my journaling. One part of my background to be, because it's got kind of two layers. So it's got the big outline green layer, and then it's got the lighter green on the inside square, right? So I want a wood grain. And I think I'm going to go with the dark again, the black. And maybe I'll do this one this time. Right, the first one. So we also have these in the shop, these Craft Consortium paper pads. So I think this is going to be my dark background piece. And then I'm going to cut this one down to 11 by 11, and it's going to go in the center. And then we'll just have a 1/2 inch border around the outside of the page. All right. So that's the first step, is that kind of inlaid border. Hi Cindy, welcome, thanks for coming. How's everybody doing on a Tuesday night? It's kind of rainy today here, hey? It's supposed to warm up though. I was looking at the forecast. It looks like we're gonna have summer back pretty soon, so good. Rainy days are perfect for scrapbooking though, aren't they? Yes. Oops. Just blew the sketch right off my desk. It, like, the glue is sticking to the roller instead of to the paper. I did go on a roadside attractions trip. Joe saw my Facebook page. I took a little Northern Alberta road trip with my husband. We did some driving on the weekend, got out of town to make sure we were both taking the actual weekend off and not semi-working. My kids are so needy. Yeah, so we went for a little drive. We went up north to where I lived as a teenager, then up to where my husband grew up, further north, and then back down through another small town I lived in when I was a preteen. It was fun. And along the way, we stopped at all of the roadside attractions that caught my fancy. There were a lot of them. I think we saw 13 or something. I don't know. It was fun. We had a good time. And it was nice to actually be away from the house and not worry about housework or family responsibilities or actual job. I would have ended up in the office, I think, this weekend if I had stayed around. So it was good. It was good. We saw the world's largest beaver. In case anybody wants to know, it's in Beaver Lodge. And I can't remember how tall he is. I would have to look again, but pretty big. And then the world's largest honeybee in Falher. World's largest railroad spike in Hines Creek. The world's largest active weather vane. Fits an entire tractor on top of it. So yeah, we saw all kinds of things. Fun stuff. Got to visit with my auntie. She lives up there as well. She lives in Falher, so we stopped in there visit her. That's the only person we stopped to see. We were really just wanting to have some time, the two of us, so we didn't do a lot of visiting, but it was good. And I do love my roadside attractions, so it was fun. We found some fun breweries to stop at. We stopped at some garage sales along the way. It was good. Good weekend. Very relaxing. There. Okay, so there's my journaling. And I have so I have to decide what I want to do for banners. So it has these 2 banners here, 2 banners here, and I have my November Man papers and some scraps, but I'll leave behind all the scraps that are too narrow. I'm not going to worry about the triangle scraps either, and we'll go from there. So remember, the advertising sheet also has a print on the back. This is that no waste packaging, or low waste packaging, I guess, because the plastic part does go in the trash. But yeah, it was a great weekend, Manya. Thank you. It was adventure to be had, that's for sure. Okay, so I have this tricky little banner maker thing. It is by I don't know who made this one. Anyway, I like it kind of, but I don't use it as much as I thought I would, because you have to have the banners a certain size. And I quite often just like to cut my banners by whatever size the scrap is, but because these ones look like they're even on both sides, I want to do that. So I'm going to use the measurements that are on here. So the largest measurement is 2.5. So I'm going to cut some 2.5 inch by 6 inch strips to start. Let's see. So I can do so 2.5 and 2.5. And then I'll just leave this little one out. And then the next one down is 1.5, 1.5? Yeah, no, 2 inches. So I'm going to cut the next ones at 2 inches. Let's see, what color do we want? Kind of like the back of this. So we're going to use the back of the November Man. And I'm going to keep the words in this time. So we're going to go 2 inches. The thing that I do like about doing this with this particular punch is that it takes the decision making out, so I don't have to guess what size I want to make the banner, because I'm going to make it the size that it already says on the punch. So another Speedy scrapbooking tip is to let the products design for you, or let the tools design for you. If they have that kind of ability, go for it. Don't reinvent anything. I think these go this way. So I'm going to put, this is going to be the bottom. So I need to make sure I'm putting the bottom of what I want into the punch. And then it's a banner. Same with this one. Goes this way. And I just make sure it's in that little groove. And there we go. You just got one of these hunky dory designs. That's who it is. I'm like, what's the H for? I couldn't figure it out. Thank you, Joe. Joanne just found one for $2 at a garage sale. Good deal, girl. That's awesome. Yep, you'll have to give it a try now that you're seeing it. And then this. There we go. All right, and then these little pieces just can go to the recycle bin. All right, so now we have this and this, right? Then we have some photos. So my photos, I think, are going to be a bit big, but we will see. So they didn't mat the photos in the sketch, so I'm going to try not matting them too and see if I can live with it. Right? Okay. So I think if I'm going to do that, they need to be cut down a bit, which should be okay for the most part, because they are 4x4. And then this one was supposed to be 4x4, and I don't have a 4x4. I have a, I think it's 3.5x5, because it was taken in that landscape, and I didn't want to cut my mother-in-law out of everything. Because she was there. She was part of the deal, part of the story. And then I have these two little mini photos that I thought maybe I could stick onto the banners. All right, so I definitely think I could cut this one down. So let's see. So this one is now a 3x4. Can I get this one down? I don't know if I'll get this one down to 3. Yeah, I can. You can still get the gist that there's a floating car being flown around by a drone, right? This one, on the other hand, without cutting our eyeballs out, I don't think I'm going to get much off of here. There we go. So I'll keep that 4-inch height, and I'll just move these all in like so. All right. And then it has this long banner at the bottom. Well, I don't have 12x12 papers, so what should I do? I will tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this paper. Do I have this one in a scrap? I might. Maybe not. Okay, that's fine. And because it's a stripe, when I line it up, we're not going to see the seam. Okay, so I'm going to cut this, I think, at about 1 inch. And I'm going to make 2 cuts like that. Oops, that was 1.5. That's okay. I can make it smaller. I have the skill. So if I line these up, it doesn't really show that there's a break in the pattern because, which way do I want this? Because the lines are already in the pattern. So this line just looks like part of the pattern. It doesn't look like it's separating anything, right? So this one, I think I want to cut at about this black line right here. So I'm going to cut that one down a little bit, because I want to take into consideration the colors of, like, I want a lot of the different colors in there, and I feel like this piece does that for me. And then this one, I think I'm going to cut at the gray on screen. Joe, you have this punch too. It's so nice, hey? Like, I quite enjoy it. I haven't tried it like this, but I don't see why I can't just put it in here. So all I'm doing is putting this in here and looking at the bottom instead and lining up my corners with the edges, and then punch it. And there I have my little banner piece. Even though that's a smaller piece, the lowest it goes is 1.5. So but I just did it a different way. So see how when you line those up, you can't really tell that they're connected because the stripe in the pattern makes it look like it's just continuing. So that's fun. So I'm gonna lay those down. I'll probably layer them one on top of the other and just trim off to make sure that they are the same width. Also looks like my grandkids are going to be moving out here, you guys. They just sold their house in Ontario. And they're looking to buy in Blackfalds. How exciting is that? I can be a grandma all the time, not just 3 times a year. It's going to be awesome. I'm very excited about it, if you can't tell. My favorite little humans are coming. They're going to live with me for a little while until they have a home of their own. It will be awesome. Thank you. Yes, I'm excited too. My grandson, of course, doesn't understand why they would ever move out of Grandma's house. He thinks they should just live here forever. Which sounds good in theory, but I don't know if Grandma can keep up to them full time. Pretty tired at the end of the day. So use those stripes with your shorter papers to give that look. And then I'm going to ink up the edges of my journaling bits. So I just printed this on white cardstock and then trimmed it out in strips, like our word strips kind of idea. And then I'm just going to put this. I could just put adhesive on the back, but I like to run mine through here until I don't have any adhesive left with my little Xyron. I'm sad that they're not making this anymore. I will just keep using it until I can't anymore. I know that day will come and I will be sad. Okay. So this is the photos of the 2003 Bryan Adams concert here in Red Deer. Part of the So Happy It Hurts tour. So guess what my title is going to be? So Happy. There we go. And then this one's going to go in the middle. I'm going to grab my T-square. Just to make sure I'm centering that. Ooh. There we go. Right in the middle. And then we have that card driving that way and this one driving this way, so that's the way they should go, right? That is not wanting to stay on there. So a sad part of my road trip though, so we get to the town that I grew up in, and I kind of knew this, but they had torn down my school, the school I went to high school in. It was probably full of all kinds of lead and asbestos and stuff. Well, probably I'll die young because of it, I don't know. But they tore it down, and there's a really pretty new school in its place. And then I went to see what the new school looks like, and it's absolutely enormous. And I'm like, hey, there were 24 kids in my whole class. What do they need this giant school for? So I'm assuming that the school system has grown, or the population has grown, and the Catholic schools have become more popular, I guess. I don't know. But the sad part was that I wanted to, like, I don't know, see all the things, and so many things had been changed. And then we went to the town I was a preteen at, Swan Hills, Alberta, the armpit of the world, I'm sure. And I really wanted to show my husband like the trailer park that I moved to, because we went from like a regular middle-sized home to this trailer park. It was a bit of a culture shock for me, and I saw things that I don't know, kind of shocked me, I guess, even as a preteen. And so I wanted him to show it to him, and I get there and I'm like, it's right. And he's like, there's nothing here. I'm like, yeah, I see that. It was completely abolished. There was not, you couldn't even drive into it, nothing. There, it was completely grown over. And then I told my dad, who had been there longer than, like, he'd worked there after we moved away. And so he was still commuting there. And he's like, oh yeah, they tore that down ages ago. And I was like, you should have told me. I was shocked. I was kind of sad that it wasn't there anymore. But yeah. So, fail at the showing of all the things, because apparently some things change and some things stay the same. But we were saying, well, I guess we've changed a whole lot in the last 20, 30 years. So I suppose it's normal that the towns have changed too. It would be kind of creepy if they didn't. Okay. And then these ones. So I'm just kind of like eyeballing where I want to cut the first one at. And then I just saw where that measured to on my trimmer, and that's where I cut the next one to. And this one keeps the letters in. I might have to change the other one because I kind of want to keep the letters in that one too. I kind of like them. So, ooh, Lori's just back from holidays. Where did you go on holidays, Lori? And are you gonna scrapbook your vacation? That's exciting. I love scrapbooking, traveling. Yes, I have lots more to add to my roadside attractions album. So if you are interested in those, this is my high-tech measuring tool. If you were interested in those layouts, there's definitely more to come. More to add. So yeah, I wanted that lettering in there, so I'm gonna just repunch this one. Hunky dory. So banners, making banners out of your smaller papers, scraps, mini paper pads, anything like that. This is a really good way to use them, is with banners. They're not exactly the same measurement, but that's okay. And then we are going to put this in the center. And just going to cover the ends of that. Okay. Here we go. So here's our little sketch. Still not 100% convinced about these, but I could definitely add them to the layout somehow. Something like that. I might mat those ones though. We'll see. I could also add them kind of down here and cover up, because it's just like audience down there. I don't really need to see all of that. You know what I'm saying? So they could go down there too. Okay. Title. So one of my Speedy scrapbooking tips also is to use pre-made titles. And where's the one I picked for this layout? It was right here. Oh, I set it down. There we go. So this one I am going to go with Happy because the tour was called So Happy It Hurts. And Ginger just put the title down here, so that's where I'm going to put mine. I don't want to cover up my husband's face with the letters, so we'll go up this way. Oops. These ones are getting kind of old, so they stick to the backing paper a little more than they should. Okay, and then I thought I would just pull my SO for So out of this Bold and Bright Alpha that I have kicking around here. There we go. Okay, so we have a title. Look how this little thing just happens to fit onto this scrap here. Maybe what I could do is I could put this on here. Oops. Just about knocked all the things to my right off the table. Hello, Jane. Welcome. Thanks for coming tonight. Get my trusty foam tape out. And remember, we have a variety of dimensional adhesives in the shop. You can always go and try a few different ones, see what's right for you. And then this one, where did I put those scraps of paper? Yeah, that'll do it. So I'm only matting these little photos because they're layering up over top of other photos. So we want there to be a little bit of definition between the two. So what Speedy scrapbooking tips have we talked about so far? One was to use your pre-printed titles as titling pieces. One was to start with a sketch, and one was to let the tools decide for you. So if you were going to make a tag or a banner, let the tools decide. So if you have dies, let the die decide what size your banner is going to be. If you have punches, let the punch decide what size your banner is going to be. And sometimes that's the easiest way to go. And in terms of journaling, I know not everybody likes to journal on their layouts, but I do recommend at least putting people's names and where you were. Even if you think you're always going to remember, you won't. So you might, I don't know, maybe you have a better memory than me, but your kids certainly will like to know where you were when you took the photos, or your family members, or whoever's going to look at these things later. Okay, so we have our 2 banners, our center photo, our 3 bottom photos. We've added a couple extra photos. We've got a title. We have some journaling. We need a date. So I thought, because this is a music concert layout, that we could use one of the little ticket pieces from our November Man collection to add our date. And where would we like to do that? Maybe just down here? I like this darker one a little bit better. Yeah. Okay, so we'll put that in there. Like a gold kind of piece. There we go. There, now we've covered up the backs of everybody's head that we didn't need to be looking at. So I'm not covering up anything crucial in those photos. And I already set my date stamp, so we just need to get this on here. There we go. And then we just need a little bit of embellishment. So in the sketch, the embellishment is represented by these star pieces. So I chose this collection because, or I chose these photos because this collection has music elements. So remember when we looked at the different element sheets to fussy cut through this bit, one of the things that they had in there was musical instruments and such. So let's look. We do have like phones, accordions, and trumpets, which I feel like maybe that's not exactly the vibe I'm going for Bryan Adams, but definitely the records could go, because I listened to him on records long before I ever downloaded his music on my phone. Headphones, I think, could go, and guitars for sure. There's definitely guitars involved. So, yeah, okay. What about, we have like ear pods, but I still feel like that's not really the vibe I wanted to go for. Here we go. Here's the other headphones. Okay, so we have a record. We could put a smaller one down here where this kind of embellishment spot is. So I just lifted up the journaling bits a little bit and tucked that under there. Then we have this one. Just trying to mix up the colors a little bit. So we have green in this guitar. We have green in the headphones on this side. So they kind of go together. This is one that the brother scanned and cut out, and it sometimes, I don't know, sees the lines that I don't see, and then it cuts them. Anyway, that's fine. So this is going to be my cluster base, this record here. And I'm just going to plop it down kind of off to the side here. And then I'm just going to tuck these. I might even cut kind of in between them. And then ink around the edges. I'm going to do this side because this side has something on it. And these are both double, all of them are double-sided, right? For these, it doesn't matter, but for people and vehicles and things that are directional, it's sometimes helpful to have that choice to put it, which direction do you want to put it. There we go. And then the guitar. Something like that. And maybe I will put the guitar on dimensional foam. Oops. And just give it a little bit of pop up there. Oh, Lisa's back. Got interrupted. You want to watch the replay to see it all? I'm glad you came back. That's kind of nice, hey? It's a good thing that it's recorded, right? So, also, if you want to watch the video where I showed all of this stuff, if you missed it or whatever, I have been downloading the videos now and posting them on my Facebook page. So you can go look at them, or sorry, my YouTube page, YouTube channel. So that when Facebook, because Facebook is starting to delete our videos. So now we will be able to go and watch them over on YouTube after the fact, okay? So if you don't catch it live and you can't find it, check my YouTube channel. I am slowly uploading them. It's gonna take me a while, but I will get it. We're getting there. We've got almost all of them downloaded to the computer. We just have to re-upload them to the other, what do you call that, platform? So we've downloaded them from Facebook, now we have to upload them to YouTube. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so there's my little cluster of thingies, and then we're gonna do a cluster of thingies over here. Do we have a different, do I want an acoustic guitar to go with this side? Maybe. I feel like I could. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. And record. I was at an antique store, and they have toys, of course, that I played with because I'm an antique. And then they had like one of those, like a toy record player, those Fisher Price ones with the colorful records on them. And I was like, would kids even know what this is now or what to do with it? Like, I feel like this is an obsolete kind of toy. Whereas some of the toys, like lots of the toys that we have for the grandkids to play with, are now considered vintage toys because they're like 1994-ish. But yeah, so they know what like knights and pirates and princesses and stuff are, so they don't need dolls. They don't go out of style really, although there is some of the antique dolls are pretty darn creepy, hey? Like, have you seen the ones with the ugh, like, oh, that's terrifying. Okay, so there is my layout, and it took me 40 minutes to make this layout, just under 40 minutes. So that's not too shabby in terms of speedy scrapbooking. So speedy scrapbooking tips: start with a sketch, use pre-made titles, and let your tools make some decisions for you. It speeds things up for sure. So that is my layout for today. Thank you so much to everybody who came to watch live. I appreciate you. I appreciate when you comment and chat with me. Thank you so much for everything, and we will be back next Tuesday with another live stream. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.